Welcome, everyone. Good morning to those who are gathered here in the sanctuary and to all who are joining online today. We begin this morning with a musical prelude from Scott DuVoe. Thank you, Scott. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Charlottesville. My name is Tori Goodlow. My pronouns are she, her, and I am pleased to be leading worship this morning with Reverend Susan Carlson and our music director, Scott DuVoe. Whoever you are and wherever you come from, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Charlottesville welcomes you. We are delighted you have joined us this morning and are grateful for all who have made this moment of our gathering possible. I invite us to take a moment to greet others. Those online may unmute, and those here in the sanctuary or social hall are welcome to greet your neighbors, especially those you may not know. We offer a special welcome to newcomers and invite you to join us for fellowship after the service in the social hall. Please use one of our red coffee mugs, and UUCville members and friends are invited to offer a special welcome to anyone with a red coffee mug. There is a live stream of the service in the social hall. While everyone is welcome here in the sanctuary, the social hall can be a good option if you need a roomier space. Many thanks to all the folks helping us share worship both here and online, our greeters, ushers, and hospitality teams, and special thanks to our AV tech team, led today by Ben Jackson and Breck Gastinger. Here are this morning's announcements. We are looking for volunteer teachers to help with our Sin Barreras pre-K program, which will resume in the fall. If you are interested or have questions, speak to Meg Dunham. Meg, are you here yet? I know she was running a little bit late. So she will be here after the service if anyone would like to speak to her about that. UUCville will once again be participating in the upcoming West Haven Community Day, which will take place Saturday, August 1st. We will have a UUCville table, and Rev Tim is looking for volunteers to help set up, staff, and take down our table. Email him at tim@uucharlottesville.org if you can help.
I invite us to take in a breath, that breath of life, strength and the power of our love. Just a moment.
I can't hear you.
Just a breath right now. On this Sunday morning, we call on our biological, our chosen, and our spiritual ancestors, those who gave us life, those who gave us hope, those who taught us to believe that we are worthy that we have a purpose greater than our individual selves with a small s. They come from many different countries and continents. Some of our ancestors look like us, some look vastly different. Some place their faith in Jesus, in God, in Buddha, Muhammad, in saints and sages, in the still small voice within. Some believed in us and helped create that place in us that is safer, more secure, able to cross barriers, bridges, knock down walls, side with love, create the beloved community. Some came to us through books or ideas, through conversations, through fierce and independent study. Some came to us as we felt weak in the knees, unable to carry on. Those ancestors, taught us how to continue on. They taught us how to look squarely at reality without flinching. They taught us a love that would not let us go. And as this morning we call on them to be with us in body and mind and spirit, because that's what this moment calls for. We need all the love, all the care, all the strength, all of us. That's my prayer for us as we're called to worship together.
And now invite Beth Yeager Landis to light our flaming chalice. Will you please join in saying our chalice lighting words? We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. And now I invite you to do the hand motions. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is a church of open minds. This is a church of helping hands. This is a church of loving hearts. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our opening hymn, number 1010, We Give Thanks, from Singing the Journey. We now move into our time of centering and the sharing of joys and sorrows. We are an interconnected community that cares for one another. Part of how we embody this care is by making time each week to share the joys and sorrows we hold in our hearts. I will now share what was submitted online prior to this morning's service. In honor of all our joys and sorrows, everyone is invited to come forward as you wish and place a glass stone in a communal bowl of water as a symbolic act of each being held by the larger love that holds us all. All are welcome to participate, including those who are new to our congregation. Those online may type their joys or sorrows into the chat. Meg Dunham, who's now here, hi Meg. Meg from the pastoral care team will come forward to help hold the space. Meg will be available for a few minutes after the service in the back corner of the sanctuary if you are in need of support or just want someone to listen. Those online can contact the pastoral care team at pastoral@ucharlottesville.org. Let us begin. This community offers its love and support to what is closest to our hearts. Another way we show our care for one another is in sharing our financial gifts with our community and our congregation. Our social action collection for the month of July is for the UU Congregation of Charlottesville's food ministry, which supports our monthly food pantry, our work at the soup kitchen at the Haven, gift cards for UU Seville members and friends whose budgets are stretched, and so much more. Ben, please show us the social action slide for giving for anyone who would like to make a donation to support our food ministry. In addition to giving online, if you would like to make a donation with cash or check, please use the social action collection envelopes and place them in the collection plate. Make checks out to UU Congregation of Charlottesville and write Social Action Collection or Food Ministry in the memo line. Along with our social action collection, we also invite you to generously support the ministries and mission of the UU Congregation of Charlottesville. Through your pledges and the weekly Sunday morning offering, your financial gifts support our congregation and enable us to put love into action. This is our shared ministry. You can offer your financial support for UU Seville by using the text address or going to our website. You may place cash or checks in the collection plates as they are passed. Let us now dedicate the many gifts we share with one another by saying, "We accept your gifts with gratitude. May we use them wisely for the highest good."
I welcome Joe Abraham and Alan Kindler for this interfaith litany. Reading. This litany was written for the launch event of the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival in Washington, D.C. on December 4th, 2017. I've adapted it somewhat for today's message, and there's a repeated refrain which we will invite you to join by lifting our hands or bringing the microphones forward. Here it is. We are here. We are ready. We will break the silence. Today, we stand as truth tellers, witnessing the pain and suffering caused by the injustices within our community and across the country. We gather to declare that we need a moral revival, a radical revolution of values. And we call on the prophets of old from the sacred text of the world's religions who,
from the Quran 971, the believers, both men and women, are in charge of and responsible for one another. They all enjoin the doing of what is right and forbid the doing of what is wrong.
From James, chapter 5, verse 4. All the workers you've exploited and cheated for judgment. The groans of the workers you used and abused are a roar in the ears of God.
from the Bhagavad Gita 4, 7, and 8. Arjuna, whenever righteousness is on the decline, unrighteousness is in the ascendant. Then I am reincarnated. For the protection of the virtuous, for the extirpation of the evildoers, and for establishing dharma or righteousness on a firm footing. I am born from age to age.
From the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
More than 50 years ago, Reverend Dr. King said, "There comes a time when silence is betrayal. The truth must be told."
Please join us. We are here. We are ready. We will break the silence. The truth is that half the United States is poor or low income, and that more than 250,000 people die each year from poverty, the lack of education, and the lack of health care, and thousands more from the denial of Medicaid.
From Rabbi Joachim Prince, the most urgent, the most disgraceful, the most shameful, and the most tragic problem is silence.
We must break the silence of systemic racism in our society. We must speak out against the attack on voting rights and extremist policies that criminalize, incarcerate, kill, and deport communities of color and divide the dispossessed.
We are here. We are ready. We will break the silence. From Coretta Scott King, I must remind you that starving a child is violence. Discrimination against working people is violence. Ghetto housing is violence. Ignoring medical need is violence. Poverty is violence. Contempt for equality is violence, and even a lack of willpower to help humanity is a sick and sinister form of violence.
The violence of the war economy and militarism is exacerbated by the structural violence of poverty. True security will only come when communities around the world have access to living wage jobs, health care, and quality education.
We are here. We are ready. We will break the silence.
Climate change, ecological devastation, and pollution are wreaking havoc on our communities, displacing millions of people because of superstorms and man-made disasters. We must protect the environment and the people living in it so that all creation can thrive. From Pope Francis, We are not faced with two separate crises, one environmental and the other social, but rather one complex crisis which is both social and environmental.
We are here. We are ready to follow in the footsteps of the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah 58, 10-12. If you remove the yoke of oppression, the pointing of the finger, the speaking of evil, if you offer your food to the hungry and satisfy the needs of the afflicted, then your light shall rise in the darkness and your gloom be like the noonday. You shall raise up the foundations of many generations. You shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of streets to live in. As with these sacred texts, we too proclaim revival across this land. We sound the alarm and shout. We are here. We are ready. It is time to break the silence. It is time for a moral revival. Clergy in Greene County have taken the lead in organizing around the racist ICE stops in Ruckersville that detained around 75 people in May and June. Impact, Charlottesville and Albemarle County Social Justice Ministry, and other clergy organizations are supporting those efforts, as well as supporting members of Impact's own congregations that are devastated by these ICE operations. There were stirring testimonies at the Greene County Board of Supervisors meeting on Tuesday by Greene County leaders and residents concerned about the effect of this roundup on their neighbors, on their lives, on their communities. That night, I saw the power of communities working in solidarity. We are bound together even more closely when families are torn apart, when neighbors lose their jobs and people are disappeared. All of that has happened this whole year, but particularly in this community in May and June. The Greene County leaders asked individuals to sing, asked Indivisible to lead the singing at the meeting. We Belong to Each Other is a song of resistance by Annie Schlafer, inspired by a poem by Nikita Gill, and in fact, inspired partly by words from James Baldwin. Here are the words to that song, which everyone, oh everyone, oh everyone of these people are ours, just like we are theirs. We belong to them, and they belong to us. Everyone, oh everyone, oh everyone of these people are ours, just like we are theirs. Belong to them, and they belong to us. Everyone, oh everyone, oh everyone of these people are ours, just like we are theirs. We belong to them, and they belong to us. Thank you. That song, which we did at the end of the last Voices Rising, it's very simply put part of my core beliefs. our faith's core principle, what we often hold as central to our lives, that we are all connected. And when I encounter others that have similar values and we all try living by them, I feel the hope, the strength, the power that runs through us all. Several months ago, I read a Substack post by Liz Bucar, who is Associate Professor of Philosophy and Religion at Northeastern University. I've been pondering that post ever since, and it's titled, "What if Trevor Noah is right about the left and religion?" Trevor Noah, who many of you may know, is a comedian, a writer, a producer, an actor, and a political commentator who hosted The Daily Show for many years. I can say without hesitation that he helped me make it through the fallout from the first Trump administration with his insightful comments and his wit. And so Bucar writes about an interview Noah did with Zohran Mamdani on What Now in December of 2025. During that interview, Mamdani talked about the problem with people not trusting progressives anymore. Noah responded, he sometimes thinks it's because of the decline of religion on the left. He went on to say later, one of the things that faith requires of you is the ability to believe that this current state is not the end. That there is a possibility that something can be greater. And even though you cannot see it, you believe that it can happen. Mamdani, now New York City mayor, told a story about a woman who had been told by successive mayors, that they would build a speed bump in her neighborhood. That never happened over a decade. So he asked a pointed question. Excuse me for the word. How the hell am I supposed to ask her to believe I can deliver universal child care when city governments can't deliver a speed bump they already promised? His conclusion was that people have lost faith and trust in an ambitious agenda. So we're often told we have to settle. And that puts progressives on the defensive. In her response to their conversation, Bucar cites several significant theologians, David Tracy and Martin Luther King Jr. Catholic theologian David Tracy, in his book from 1981, The Analogical Imagination, wrote about connection in the sense of seeing the sacred in the everyday things that happen around us. His analogical imagination refers to the ability to act what is right in front of us, to act on what is right in front of us, and to practice the ability to see the world as it is and simultaneously hold what it could become. Bucar then goes on to the last book that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? In this book, which was published by the Unitarian Universalist Association publishing company, Beacon Books, King summarizes 300 plus years of white supremacy, this country's treatment of enslaved people, the Jim Crow era, and all the political machinations emanating from them. Now, most of us have often heard of King's beloved community. And this book King talks about how it can be realized not as some heavenly hereafter, another world, but right now. Beloved community, he says, could be here and now, and he thinks it will be, if people are trained and committed to nonviolence. And Buchar says, King looked at Jim Crow America, the violence, the systemic brutality, the entrenched resistance to change, and could see not just what was, but what was trying to be born. And her conclusion is that King believed in the ability to have this current state not be the end. In this book also, King retells Washington Irving's story of Rip Van Winkle. And he says that most of what we remember from that story is that Rip Van Winkle fell asleep for 20 years. But King says we miss the most important point of the story, that he slept through the revolution. He went to sleep when King George was the king of the colonies, and he woke up when George Washington was president of the country. And he had no idea who George Washington was. So King surmises, one of the great liabilities of history is that all too many people fail to remain awake through great periods of social change. And here we are in the middle of great social change. Social change that threatens people's lives, their incomes, their very existence, our elections, our democracy, reproductive rights, wars, you name it. We can't fall asleep through an administration that guiltlessly damages people's lives and neglects the care of everyday citizens, including all of us. A friend of mine just wrote to me about how seeing her new grandchild is urging her to work harder and stronger for a just world. Now, I know I won't have any grandchildren, but I too feel that tug, and it comes whenever I see children playing like children normally do. When I hear a story about a young Greene County resident who doesn't feel safe anymore in her own community because of her concerns for her family of immigrants. I feel it when I hear about 1 to 3 more luxury high-rise student apartments being built in Charlottesville's few remaining Black neighborhoods. And I say to myself and to the God of my heart, my understanding, help me join with others in our faith communities, our civic life, to respond actively and well to the demagogues of power and privilege. Show me enough faith and trust to rail against what's before us now. Liz Buchar hypothesizes that perhaps religious communities have been practicing hope longer at their best, that they are able to sustain vision through disappointment. And in fact, that's exactly what Dr. King taught, asking people to live out their lives by seeing what's clearly in front of us, all the risk, but imagining a different world that can be. We don't all have to believe the same thing to work together, and Unitarian Universalists know that perhaps best of all. I have to say that in reading that book, Where Do We Go From Here, Martin Luther King spent a whole chapter talking about white religious liberals. And yet, he saw all these realities, and yet he still had hope. He still believed. He still worked over and over and over again to see those giant triplets of racism, materialism, and militarism. It was some years ago on the Living Legacy pilgrimage. I sat in Martin Luther King Jr.'s kitchen, where, so it goes, he prayed to God about the next part of his path and what he should do. And I was in that kitchen with now my deceased colleague, the Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson, as we took pictures of one another to remind us of that moment. It altered my life. Later, we saw the house where Medgar Evers was murdered, and that too created change deep in my life. And then running my fingers through the waters of the Southern Poverty Law Center's fountain with the names of all these civil rights people, the leaders, that also transformed me. Not perfectly, not with all my privileges, that I do it all the time, but it cemented, it reinforced something that was important in my life. In the 2017 Unite the Right rally, where a number of us were there together, that also holds faith and hope at the center. I've seen in meetings with Albemarle County Board of Supervisors and City Council, where we hold people of power accountable to a vision we cannot see, not yet, not fully realized, about affordable housing and public transit and neighborhood safety. Neighborhood safety. And I find hope in these meetings with people from different faiths, leaders, clergy, and lay alike, all coming together. I've seen the boulders of entrenchment move, though it takes a lot of patience and a long-standing commitment. And I realize that these connections are forged anew over and over during one singular lifetime, and how that intersects with the ancestors that I mentioned in the call to worship. We are not alone. We are strong and we are resilient, and we cannot do it alone. There's no way. We're too small. The things are too big. The issues are too large. And we're not alone because other traditions as well have practiced this hope, this faith, this resilience. We are stronger together. And so I repeat that song of resistance, the words, which I'm just going to say this time. Everyone, oh everyone of these people are ours, just like we are theirs. We belong to them, and they belong to us. We belong to them, and they belong to us. May it be so. Will you join in singing our closing hymn, number 1028, The Fire of Commitment? The words will be on our screen momentarily. Tori, will you extinguish the chalice, please? Let us take with us this day the words of the former minister of this congregation, the Reverend Wayne Arneson. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard. The path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Amen. Blessed be.